Sri Lanka, a day after President Gotabaya Rajapaksa imposed state of emergency for the second time in 5 weeks, Lankan government justified the move. The government on Saturday said that the move is an absolute necessity. It is very much required to tackle the worsening economic meltdown plaguing the nation. In a statement released, the Information Department defended the government's action by saying that the state of emergency is needed to ensure public safety and maintain supply of essential goods and services amid the ongoing crisis. The statement further read that the priority for the government is to manage the shortage of foreign exchange within the shortest time so that stability comes in. The Ministry of Defence has also issued a statement clarifying the need for the imposition of a state of emergency. The statement came as President Gotabaya Rajapaksa faced immense criticism from the opposition and foreign envoys for his decision, which gives security forces the power to crack down on peaceful protests. United States and European diplomats have urged President Gotabaya to repeal the emergency imposed after a general strike brought the bankrupt country to a halt. Now, for more on this, joining us live is our correspondent Dasuni Athoda from Colombo. Thank you, Dasuni, for joining us. Now, can you begin by telling us about the situation on ground and the general consensus regarding the state of emergency?
Well, I'm sorry, like you pointed out quite rightfully, this is the second time in 5 weeks that the emergency law has been imposed. Now, from what we know so far, emergency law means that it gives sweeping powers to security officials to check you for even arrests and essentially gives more power to security officials to carry out their duties. However, so far, following the initial reports of the emergency law coming into effect, there were certain instances of violence that were being reported at protest sites. However, over the weekend, things seem to have calmed down. Nevertheless, the law is pretty much in effect. And speaking of the legality of an emergency law, whenever it is imposed, it needs to be ratified in Parliament within 14 days. So it will be interesting to see how the Parliament will react to this move and whether it will actually be ratified in the coming days as well.
Absolutely. Now, at a time when the nation is in the middle of a crippling economic crisis, protesters are out on the streets, as you know, demanding the Rajapaksa government to resign. What has the response been on that front, and what steps is the government now taking to address the concerns of the people?
Well, right now, as we speak, there has been a discussion between the Bar Association of Sri Lanka and the Sri Lanka Freedom Party-led group of 11 parties. Now, the Bar Association of Sri Lanka is a prominent professionals group that concerns all legal lawyers and representatives here in the country. And they did put forth a proposal for this government on how best Sri Lanka can come out of this crisis. And even during parliamentary sessions that were recently concluded, we did see a lot of MPs sort of commending this report, and it really seems as of right now that the Bar Association is sort of reaching out to all of these political parties to really come and find a resolve, provided that for the past 5 weeks there really has been no resolve in the political front.
Absolutely, and that's right, Dasuni. You know, we've heard a lot about debt restructuring, but how effective is this strategy going to be? Also, have there been any practical steps taken in that direction?
As of right now, there is nothing concrete that has been put out even for the general public for their understanding, because yes, debt restructuring, debt sustainability are phrases that we've heard day in and day out here in the country, but there seems to be no concrete plan that has yet to be put out. And for something that we can look forward to tomorrow is that the second stage of the IMF discussions with Sri Lanka is also set to take place. So this coming week will be a hopeful week, hopefully for Sri Lanka, given that we are trying to look at some form of resolve in the political front.
All right, Dasuni, thank you so much for bringing us all the updates on this. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.